they have published some changes for the new heroes. And I completely missed the first round of changes that they did on August 22nd. It's been a long time since then. Billy's just basically feeling normal, I guess. It was mostly just some small things. But yesterday they did some changes to all 5 of the previously released heroes. So yeah, let's just talk about those briefly. First of all, Billy is just getting some slight changes. They increased the melee scaling of Bash down, but they changed around the spirit damage a little bit. So they reduced the spirit damage and the spirit scaling, and they also made the impact center slightly closer to Billy. They also did some fixes for chain gangs, so half of these do kind of seem to be fixes, but Mina in particular is getting some big changes, which we will cover in a second. Doorman is also getting some nerfs, which are definitely needed. The call bell cooldown has been increased from 16 seconds to 18 seconds, so that's going to affect his poke at all stages in the game, but especially in the early game before you get any cooldown items online. And Rejoice, Luggage Cart Tier 3 stun has been reduced from 1.5 seconds to 1.2 seconds. It was a really long stun, so I think this is definitely very necessary. Drifter's also getting some immediate nerfs. This was yesterday at 5:49 p.m. and they already deduced, hey, Drifter needs some nerfs. So they nerfed his weapon damage per boon pretty substantially from 0.693 to 0.55. So as you level up later into the game, your weapon damage is going to be lower than it was before. And his weapon-based fire rate has also been slowed by 5%, so really just an overall nerf. They did a partial base damage compensation, but it's still a nerf at the end of the day, so Gun Drifter going to be less powerful. They also slightly reduced his health per boon from 43 to 41, and they nerfed the lifesteal on Ren's Tier 3 from 55% to 45%. Still a lot of lifesteal, but not as much as it was before, so overall going to have less sustain. And they also reduced the Blood Scent Tier 3 amplified damage from 13% to 11%, and this was the damage bonus that you would receive when you are dealing with an isolated target, so that has gone down. So really just nerfs across the board to Drifter, which definitely makes sense. He did feel really overtuned on release, so we'll see if this brings him in line. I'm probably going to end up playing against a bunch of Drifter today, so we shall see. Mina, though, is where things really get interesting, because she is getting, by far, I think, the most impactful changes, and really a lot of buffs, it seems, as well as a rework to one of her upgrades. So the Sanguine Retreat Tier 3 has been massively buffed, from minus 7 seconds of cooldown reduction to minus 12 seconds of cooldown reduction. So that is 5 extra seconds of cooldown reduction. If we max this out, we are now looking at a 15-second cooldown on Sanguine Retreat. And then if you buy Transcendent Cooldown, like I do, you can get that down to a 10.5-second cooldown, and that's before getting any cooldown buffs from the golden statues. So that is actually a major buff. A lot more uptime on the Sanguine Retreat. You can really use that a lot now, especially because the cooldown decrements while you're using the ability. So you'll notice, we come out of the ability there, it's actually like an 8-second cooldown. So that is really going to be huge for her uptime. I already have it back, and now I can dash again. So, already, that is pretty good. But she's getting some more changes. So, Love Bites is getting a bit of a power shift. It is getting its cooldown at base, just by default, reduced from 8 seconds to 7 seconds, so 1 second faster cooldown. However, the Tier 3 no longer provides cooldown reduction. It's been changed. Instead of giving cooldown reduction, it now gives 1 stamina drain and 30% slow on the affected enemy for 3 seconds. And so, she has a lot more crowd control now on this Love Bites. You can basically just yoink some stamina. I mean, she doesn't get the stamina, I don't think. But you can basically take their stamina away, make it harder for them to run away from you, and then you can finish the kill. But this does also mean that long-term, late game, she does have less damage output now because, well, do the math. You're going from an 8-second cooldown to a 7-second cooldown, as opposed to an 8-second cooldown down to a 5-second cooldown with the previous Tier 3. So that means you're going to be getting that burst less consistently. But in the early game, at least, she will actually be doing slightly more damage because of that 1 second shaved off the base cooldown. So this is definitely a very interesting power shift. Less damage, but more crowd control. And we'll see if the stamina drain and the 30% slow allows her to get kills easier than just having 3 seconds off the cooldown before. And alternatively, playing against her, maybe this minus 3 seconds cooldown was really way too oppressive. I personally didn't really have much of an opinion on it. And so maybe this will feel better to play against. I don't really know. But then it just keeps going. They buffed her ultimate twice. They have reduced the cooldown by a massive 20 seconds on Nox Nostra. 150 seconds down to 130 seconds. And they've also increased the silence duration by an extra quarter of a second. So, yeah, this is pretty scary now. You get to do this much more consistently, and the silence is going to wear off just a little bit slower on the enemies now. And again, if you're buying that with cooldown items, or if you're using this with cooldown items, then right now I've got Transcendent cooldown. Pretty reasonable item to buy, I would say, especially if you have actives. 91 second cooldown, and even if you just have superior cooldown, that is still a 98 second cooldown, which is much better than it was before. So ultimately, I'd say Mina's the biggest winner of this small update, because, yeah, she's just getting a lot of buffs, and, you know, I guess that's fair enough. My first impression of her was that she was a little underwhelming. Then I got to play her a little more, realized, she's pretty decent, actually, but I think compared to Billy and Drifter, she was lacking a little bit, so that is fair enough. And then finally, Paige really just got a bug fix some pathfinding issues with Conjure Dragon. She hasn't received any balance changes whatsoever. Hey, post-stream Andrew here. They actually just released a hotfix literally as I got done streaming, which included some more balance changes to Drifter and to Victor. So, yeah, I'm gonna read through these now here as well. They did some more nerfs to Drifter, it looks like. They reduced the Rend Spirit scaling from 1.5 to 1.4, less damage there. They reduced the Tier 1 damage on Rend, the bonus Spirit damage, from 40 down to 35. They also reduced his weapon damage at max range from 80% down to 60%, so a bit more fall off now, a bit more of a natural gradient going on there. Still a pretty short-range character. You're still going to want to be in close quarters anyways, and if you are in close quarters, then I guess this doesn't affect you as much. Eternal Night also got a bunch of changes here. The bonus spirit damage has been reduced from 9 to 7. The bonus spirit damage scaling has also been reduced from 0.25 down to 0.2. The Tier 1 bonus spirit damage has been reduced from plus 11 to plus 7. And the attack damage no longer procs Lightning Scroll. No! I never played with that anyways, but apparently, the bonus spirit damage that you would get on Drifter's primary fire during his ultimate was able to proc Lightning Scroll, so you could stun people with your primary fire. No longer the case, so yeah, that's a bit unfortunate for Drifter players, I guess. That was a silly interaction, but ultimately a lot of nerfs to the spirit damage of Drifter here, both in terms of the Rend, and also the bonus that you get while ulting. Drifter's still very powerful, so that's fair enough. Victor literally just came out. I played a couple of games with him on stream. He is really strong. Really fun, too. And, yeah, it looks like they've immediately hit him with some just brutal nerfs. So, let's take a look at these. Base regen reduced from 3 down to 1.5. Oof! Still scales with spirit power, though, but yeah, cut that in half. Early game prowess has just gone down. Jumpstart regen spirit scaling has been reduced from 2 to 1.8. Still very strong spirit scaling, but 2 is just insane. You get so much healing from that. Jumpstart Tier 3 has also been reduced from minus 8 seconds of cooldown to minus 4 seconds of cooldown, so that's a pretty hefty nerf there. It means you're going to be able to jumpstart less. That means less maintaining of the movement speed, less healing if you are able to get more healing from it than you take in self-damage, but also, and this is very pertinent especially for the late game when there's anti-heal and a lot of CC online, less cleansing of debuffs. So that is very important. They have also nerfed the Aura of Suffering. He now takes 100% self-damage instead of 80% self-damage, so he used to take reduced self-damage compared to the amount of damage he was doing to other people. Now it's the same self-damage versus damage that's outgoing. He already takes a lot of self-damage from this, and this is going to make it even more punishing, but considering how much damage Aura of Suffering is capable of doing, he's still going to be pretty powerful in that regard, I think. And it looks like they've also nerfed his ultimate a bunch. So they nerfed the health that you get from 100% down to 60%. So that is going to mean you're not going to revive with full HP anymore. But still a revive with 60% sounds nice. Might be a little low, honestly, I don't know. I feel like, you know, the problem is, like, he is pretty much only getting value out of the ultimate from the revive. I have hit the damage less than a handful of times, and I played about 4 matches with him. And, yeah, I mean, there is combo potential, certainly. Especially, you'll be able to see that at higher levels of gameplay. And maybe that damage also is worth it, and so you can nerf the Rebirth in this way, but I don't know. Certainly Victor does need some immediate nerfs, so yeah. looks like we're doing that just for now. They also increased the cooldown from 180 seconds to 190 seconds, and they removed the cooldown reduction that you would get from the Tier 2. So instead of minus 20 seconds cooldown, you now get plus 40% rebirth health, and that's going to take you back up to 100%. So I'd say still worth it to get the Tier 2. And honestly, the cooldown does impact him slightly, because it means you'll be able to fight more frequently. But in terms of just one single engagement, especially if it is a team fight, right, where you got like 5 people on each team fighting, you're not going to be able to get 2 ultimates during that fight anyways, even with a bunch of cooldown reductions. So that doesn't actually affect the impactfulness of it that much, which... yeah, it's fair enough, honestly. Just means that he gets to go in and feed a little bit less and participate in less fights with an ultimate available, so that's fair enough. And also, apparently, I guess, it procced Lightning Scroll, and they decided that's not okay, and so it no longer procs Lightning Scroll either. Which, that feels weird to me. That feels really weird to me, because it's already hard enough to hit the damage as is, and it does come with a stun, and it is a pretty hefty amount of damage, but it's just... it's so easy to get away from Victor's ultimate, and so I think if you're able to hit someone with it, you should be rewarded with Lightning Scroll anyways. And to be honest, I don't see myself buying Lightning Scroll on him, period, just because of how difficult it is to hit. So this feels like kind of a pointless change to me, and one that really just kind of sucks for Lightning Scroll, because, like... like, it's an item that specifically procs on ultimates, and yet we're limiting the ultimates artificially that it can proc on. So, not really sure about that last change, but yeah, Victor... oh, you know a character is a little overtuned, a little juiced when he comes out, and then 3 hours later they immediately nerf him, and it's like pretty substantial nerfs too. So, yeah, Victor's still a really fun playstyle, though. I think he's still going to be pretty strong, but... yeah, he might have been capable of getting away with a little bit too much. But yeah, that's going to do it for this update coverage. So if you guys found this video to be helpful, then make sure to drop a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future Deadlock videos from me. And I will see you all next time. Peace out.